am having, Mac.
Shadow the Hedgehog is one of my favorite Sonic characters, and when I tell you this, I mean it for a specific reason. This character has so many great moments in the franchise that I feel like he's really hard to overlook as being one of the best in the series. I mean, he is the second ranked most popular character within the franchise in the first place. Now that isn't to say that Shadow hasn't had any bad moments, because if you were to ask any Sonic fan in existence, they'd probably tell you that he's probably the most misrepresented character in the entire franchise at the moment, or at least he has been in the past couple of years. But either way, I think shows like Sonic Prime show that Shadow is still a character that really can be done greatly, and can really shine if given a chance. I personally believe that Shadow might be the best character in Sonic Prime, and that's a hill that I will die on. But even still, I want to talk about in today's video the best moment for this character overall, looking at all of the media, all of the cutscenes, everything this character has to offer, and see which of them was really the definitive Shadow the Hedgehog moment, the moment you should think of when you think about this amazing character. A while ago, I made a video talking about the best Knuckles moment, where I basically said that I believe that the best Knuckles moment had to be when he saved Rouge from that giant vat of lava by catching her in the last possible second at the end of his story in Sonic Adventure 2. You should definitely go check out that video if you haven't already, but one of the reasons why I said that moment was so great is because it showed another side of Knuckles' character. We saw him save someone who he had been antagonizing the entirety of the game. To me, I feel as though this was one of Knuckles' major defining moments. I think this really shows just what kind of, person or echidna he really is. And I want to look for a scene today that kind of does the same thing that it did for Knuckles, but for Shadow. But I think in order to figure that kind of thing out, it's important to think about what character Shadow the Hedgehog is supposed to be, not what character he currently is. Towards the tail end of the massive amount of character development Shadow had from literally Sonic Adventure 2 all the way up to Sonic 06, I feel as though Shadow's character started off as one that was supposed to be mysterious, edgy, and also a little frightening at times. Shadow is supposed to be a character who is like always on equal footing with Sonic. There's not supposed to be really any difference between the two outside of their maneuvering, but in terms of physical prowess and just overall, speed, the two of them are supposed to be on equal playing field, so one doesn't really have a slight edge over the other. This has held true since the beginning. Since Shadow the Hedgehog was first introduced in the Sonic game, we've known all of these things. Him being mysterious, him being super strong, him being all about business. These are the things you're supposed to think of when you think about Shadow the Hedgehog. Needless to say, I feel as though the best scene for Shadow should be a scene that replicates all of those things and more. Possibly showing a character development in that scene would really propel this character and really give us the best moment for him. After thinking long and hard on what exactly is supposed to be the best Shadow the Hedgehog scene, I think I came down to just a few, but there are a couple games that I easily want to disqualify from having this scene in the first place. Like for example, games like Shadow the Hedgehog are easily disqualified for me. Even putting aside my wildest interest for this game, I have to be honest with you, I don't think this game actually truly shows Shadow at his finest. I think there are great moments where we see Shadow kind of move on, especially in that last cutscene where he throws the picture of Maria and Gerald, where I think it's a great scene for him, but I don't know if it's a scene that I would consider one that captures the true character that Shadow the Hedgehog is supposed to be. And even putting aside everything I just said, most of the game Shadow the Hedgehog is Shadow just wondering who he is, what he's supposed to do, and overall, what Maria was, his past, all of that stuff, he doesn't even know himself. So how could this game properly show a cutscene where Shadow is truly showing the best he can be without knowing who he's supposed to be? Again, this game does have some pretty great scenes, and especially those that look really pleasing into the eyes, but even still, I don't think this game has the best Shadow moment, or anything that really comes close to it. And just to clarify, folks, cool scene does not mean best scene. I know the Shadow the Hedgehog opening is really cool, but that's not his best moments. That's just not it. Another game I really want to knock off the table is Sonic Heroes. Now, as much as I love this game and think it's one of the most fun Sonic games to play, this game also is kind of a little confusing with Shadow. Again, he doesn't really know who he is, what's going on, and with the Shadow androids and all that stuff, things get really confusing for him. So I'd have to say that no, this is not going to be a game that really represents Shadow in the best way possible because, again, he doesn't even know who he's supposed to be. But with that having been said, I feel as though Sonic Adventure 2 is definitely a clear candidate for having one of the best Shadow moments, only because this game has an understanding of who Shadow is supposed to be like no other. Shadow knows who he's supposed to be. He has that understanding only because this was supposed to be the first and last appearance that Shadow's going to make in the entire series. Even though Shadow misunderstood his purpose, it was that belief in that purpose that he misunderstood that would really propel him to have some great moments in this game. Shadow fully believed that his purpose was supposed to be to wipe out humanity and go along with Eggman's plan. So, with him believing that, every action he takes is with full purpose. He never doubts himself and never questions himself until like the very end of the game. With that being said, I feel like one of the easiest candidates for the best Shadow the Hedgehog moment has to be his first appearance in Sonic Adventure 2, where he rises up out of the capsule after Eggman types in the Maria password. I mean, in my opinion, this setup is really great because it shows you everything you need to know about this character in just a few seconds. He's mysterious, he's dark, he's edgy, he's got this aura about him that's really scary but at the same time really intriguing. Not to mention, Eggman mistakes him for being Sonic because he looks, to Eggman anyway, just like Sonic. So that already goes enough to tell you that this character is going to be on a comparable scale to Sonic the Hedgehog. To make a long story short, Shadow comes across as threatening, dark, and powerful. Not to mention, this entire scene looks so cool. Another great demonstration of what could be the best Shadow the Hedgehog moment is later in the game where Shadow and Sonic have their first encounter. Shadow's using powers that we've never seen in the series before and didn't even think was possible, yet he's unlocking powers of the Chaos Emeralds and even blowing Sonic's mind. In this very same scene, I'd argue that it very well captures what Shadow the Hedgehog is supposed to represent, even to this very day. That said, while I find these two scenes to both be great displays of Shadow the Hedgehog's character and easily contenders for the best Shadow the Hedgehog moment, there is one thing that they're missing that the previous Knuckles scene I talked about earlier definitely had, and it was that kind of other side of the character that we really didn't get to see, and that was easily showcased in the game Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 with the last cutscene in Shadow the Hedgehog's story. I ask you to put aside all of your thoughts and feelings about Sonic 06, whether you loved it, hated it, whatever. I think we can all agree that Shadow the Hedgehog is easily one of the best parts of this game. His characterization is absolutely on point. That said, you can easily expect the last scene of his story to capitalize on everything we've seen thus far, and capitalize it sure did. Throughout the entirety of the game, Mephiles tells Shadow that the world will one day betray him, and the only way to get justice is if the two of them work together to destroy everything. The interesting thing about these cutscenes here is that Shadow never once denies what Mephiles is saying. He never once suggests that Mephiles is lying in an attempt to probably plot to get him on his side, but instead, Shadow just takes the high road and just chooses to still stick with humanity. Truthfully, I believe every cutscene that Mephiles and Shadow have together is a top tier Shadow moment, but I feel as though the culmination between all of these moments in the last cutscene of Shadow's story is the defining moment for this character. This is the best Shadow moment. This is the first game in which Shadow takes off his inhibitor rings, meaning that he's not playing around, and in this cutscene, he's not taking Mephiles lightly. He's going to decimate him with everything in him. There's so many other great things about this scene, like the fact that he's working close with Omega and Rouge here, and the fact that his line where he basically says, if the world chooses to become my enemy, you know what, I'm not gonna say it, I'm gonna let Shadow say it for you.
If the world chooses to become my enemy, I will fight like I always have.
Now, after watching this scene and understanding why it's so great, you have to agree with me that this is the best Shadow the Hedgehog scene. But if you don't, let me know in the comment section down below what you think the best Shadow scene is. I'd love to see what you guys have to say. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe on it, as it would really help me. And don't forget to turn on the post notifications bell, that way you never miss a video from me. You do not want to miss what I have to say. Anyway, with all that said and done, thank you all again so much for watching. This is Sonic signing out. Have a super blessed day, y'all.
Why are you playing that trash?